Dude, I wanted to get on because we talked a lot about how you built A1. You know, you guys built it to where it's at today. You guys do over...
Last year, we just shy of 250 million. This year will be north of 300. But the real pride and joy is the profit margin is up there between 25 and 30%.
So, I mean, we're talking about netting 50, 60 million bucks a year. That's...
Yeah, it was north of 60. But the deal is...
What's up, wealth builders? Today, I've got somebody who has built a $1 billion business, already had a massive exit and getting ready to do it again. I've got the founder of A1 Garage Doors, Tommy Mello. What's up, man?
What's going on, brother?
Dude, so I'm going to already say it. You're probably the smartest business guy I know. And I've had a lot of business guys on the podcast, but very few have built a $1 billion company, which you have, and have exited for, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars, which you've already done. And also just so smart and nice and kind and everything else, dude. So like, it's very rare to meet that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's come from a really humble beginning. So it's one of those things you never forget where you came from.
Yeah. So I've had you on before, and then you've spoken at WealthCon, and you know, I've been on your podcast and I've seen your operation. We're actually going to go film at one of my investments. You guys we're doing a garage door.
Yeah, your wife's got really nice, I'll call it nice taste.
Nice, expensive, you know, whatever you want to call it. But either way, I'm excited for everything that's coming. But dude, I wanted to get on because we talked a lot about how you built A1 in the last, 17 years?
Yeah, I started in 2006, got the LLC in 2007. So yeah.
Yeah, like 17, 18 years.
Yeah.
You know, you guys built it to where it's at today. You guys do over how many?
So this year, last year, we just shy of 250 million. This year will be north of 300. But the real pride and joy is the profit margin is up there between 25 and 30%.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're talking about netting 50, 60 million bucks a year.
Yeah, it was north of 60. But the deal is, people are probably wondering, like, I'm not the most expensive. We've got options. Here's the situation is we've got the highest booking rate. We've got a rehash team, highest conversion rate.
Yeah.
I was just telling your boys over there, we give options to all of our clients, not ultimatums. It doesn't need to be the most expensive option. So I just don't want to make people think A1 Garage Door Service is like, we are a premium brand, but we do builder grade. We do everything.
Yeah.
And we can compete on price. It's just, I want to be there the same day you need us the most. I want to send somebody safe that you could trust around your daughter and your wife when they're home alone.
Yep.
And that's what's important. And I want to fix it right the first time. I don't want to be coming back 7, 8 times all the time.
Well, I wanted to read this because today they're actually installing those garage doors at my house. And I, as a customer, have just been looking at how you guys process a door. So, you know, when we picked the door, everybody was super helpful, all those things. And I got a text today, hey, your technician Kyle's on his way to the property. And then it's got this like little bio about him. And it starts telling you about the guy. He's like, I'm from Pahrump. I like doing anything and everything outdoors. I'm into sports and anything that has to do with moto. You know, I'm looking forward to serving your needs. And just let me know if you need anything. Here's my number. And it's like, I've never seen another company do that where they're telling me about this guy's hobbies and like personal stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what made you guys realize that was important to making people feel comfortable and safe and all that?
Well, a good CRM will always have that, but the difference is we needed to come up with a way to go above and beyond it. We talk about building rapport and just being a good human being. We talk about family, occupation, recreation, and material things form. So family, occupation, hold on. Form, family, occupation, recreation, and material things. So people love talking about the Harley. People love talking about, like, one of my top guys, Robin, he talks about he loves soccer. Other people post their pets, and definitely your children are your big why if you got it.
Yeah.
Some guys feel comfortable sharing that stuff. Some guys don't want to share that. So, but you really connect with the client. Yeah. And that's what we want to do. And we've got some AI stuff we're building that it'll be able to check to make sure we're offering coffee. Hey, I'm stopping off at, what's the place right here that I just stopped to grab an iced tea?
Maverick.
Hey, I'm stopping off at Maverick. Gonna grab myself a coffee. Gonna grab myself an iced tea. Can I grab you or the family anything?
Wow.
I insist. And we're not there yet. We will have this done in the next 45 days. And all I want is checks and balances. I'm a big, like, systems guy, and inspect what you expect.
Yeah.
And anything you could automate. So I had this AI app that like made you look buff or look like a doctor.
Yeah.
And we bought a company that was still in Houston called Garage Door Doctors. Every one of their profiles, they look like a doctor. And we show up and we actually bring a white jacket and kind of joke around with the clients, and they put it on the opener.
Really?
Yeah, it's fun. It doesn't make sense for most of our markets A1, but it's just that stuff like that goes above and beyond. You make the customer smile. You show that you really care. And that's by hiring the right person. It's hard to teach that. I can teach anybody how to do a garage door. Hiring people that actually care, like Four Seasons does.
Yeah.
When they say, hey, Ryan, are you having a good day? No, they say, Ryan, hey, listen, we've done some research. We know you're from Vegas. We know you're a golfer. Why are you here? Is there anything we can get for you? And you're having a genuine conversation.
Yeah.
So people are like, how do you find those people? Well, I have a litmus test. Would I go have a beer with this person and go play a round of golf? And like, do I want to hang out more with them?
Yeah.
If not, I don't want them working with us.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes perfect sense, especially when you're in a service-based industry. And I mean, you guys service so many different homes all across the country. It's crazy. One thing I think about from just watching your business and knowing you is just like the journey. Because I mean, you mentioned this is like the last 18 years building. And I'm just curious for myself, what changes every step of the way, right? Like, you know, I think a lot of people listening to this, maybe they're at six figures currently. What's the first jump from 6 to 7 figures, then 7 to 8, then 8 to 9? You know, what changes?
Well, the early days, you can't, your first hire is probably the hardest. And you're trying to multitask, you're trying to handle it all. You're the best at everything.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to delegate in even real estate, flipping houses. You know how to put out fires. You know how to do things. You got the relationship with the contractors. You're the ones that knows the every single cycle and the process. So you try to hire somebody under you and you're like, tell me you pulled a permit for this. Or tell me you didn't call this carpet guy. I've already got a relationship with it. It's like they're making these little mistakes and you get so annoyed.
Yep.
And that's what's stopping you from becoming a millionaire or $1 million business is you're a control freak. You expect people to read your mind. You don't create manuals, standard operating procedures, checklists, and processes along the way.
Yep.
So the first thing that's the hardest is just letting go and saying, look, this person might do 70% of what I could do. But if I hired 100 of them, they're at 7,000% of what I could be at.
Yeah.
And don't forget all the mistakes you made, Ryan, when you got started.
Yep.
You screwed up. You cut something you weren't supposed to cut. You hired the wrong guy under the table. You know, we've all made these mistakes. And when somebody makes them for us, we get so angry.
Yeah.
We're like, you idiot. You should have called me. I've already made this mistake. But we've never had them come in and said, here's how you're going to learn. Here's the process. And literally the coolest thing is when you identify exactly how you want things done.
Yeah.
And you created an LMS for them and you're training them. And you're putting them in a situation where they can't fail. And it's all documented in a proper way that anything they could ever need is there for them.
Yeah.
So that's step one. Step two, getting to 10 million. This is hard. I think you got to have the right brand.
Okay.
I think it's more about brand and it's about learning how to acquire clients.
Okay.
And the clients, I look at internal clients and external clients. External clients are the homeowners. Internal clients are my coworkers.
Okay.
You got to get really good at building that. I need leads. I need technicians. I need leads. I need installers and just capacity planning. And for me, it took getting the right brand.
Does brand, so A1 at that point, or was it Tommy Mello or both?
It was A1. Yeah,
Okay.
it was, we did about 6.5 million in 2014, jumped to 12. So 2015 was when we were north of 10 million. And here's the thing. You need a really good number too. You need people.
By the way, I just got this text from my wife about the garage door. She goes, hey, is someone meeting you at the house? She said, there's a guy with a luggage and a backpack waiting by the garage. Oh, he's with A1 Garage.
That's my camera guy, Giuseppe. I flew in with him.
He goes, I just dropped him off at Cherry. I don't know why he was at this house, but he did one door and it looks amazing in all caps. Man, this looks really good.
Oh, good. That is great. Yeah.
Yeah, to share that. But sorry, that had to go in the interlude. But so you need a right-hand man.
Yeah. So look, the real deal is a lot of times you want to get a good deal.
Yeah.
You don't get a deal on great people. I can tell you that. Every time I've gotten a great deal on somebody, didn't have performance behind it, whether that's a massive bonus structure or just a highest salary in the industry, you get what you pay for. And I mean that. I mean, down from the technicians to the installers, you want them safe. You want them to be drug tested. You want them to have personality. You want them to get the job done right the first time. You want them to show up on a Saturday. You want, like, management, same thing. You don't want to have to train somebody from the ground up on how to be a good person. So you got to know how to interview, check references, get the referrals. You got to know how to do all that stuff to get to that next level. And I'll tell you this, my CFO could run circles around me. My COO, I'll never be as good of an operator. My VP of marketing, I give him a lot of competition. I'm the marketing. The two things I'll never let go of is I know the financials really well. I'm a marketing machine. And 2017, I started a podcast, Home Service Expert. It fluctuates between number 7 and 10 in business in North America. It does very, very well. I'd never used that. That did not get A1 big. What that did is gave me the kind of an inside loop that each week I'm struggling with something, right? I'm like, how do I depreciate this? And I want to get all these new vehicles. I want to do this. I want to do that. HR is a nightmare. I need to learn more about this. I was able to get like the best person on the planet to coach me through the podcast for free.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because certain people want to get paid to be on a podcast. And I'm like, we get 220,000 downloads a month. Why would I pay you?
Yeah.
But the final finale that I'll tell you is understanding the deepest roots of how business wealth is created. And that's through arbitrage. And that's through understanding what the goal is. And that's reverse engineering. Once you learn, here's your cost per lead, here's your contact center's booking rate, here's your conversion rate, here's your average ticket. Those 4 KPIs, do it with any business across the planet. Any business could fix it. And that's what I'm obsessed with is great leadership, capacity planning. Now I know where I'm running towards. When you have those figured out, you just dump gasoline in and you keep going. I mean, there's no doubt this business, and I've got a short path here in under 5 years, will be worth over $20 billion. And the deal is, how do you do that quickly? Well, it's kind of funny. We were in Atlanta recently, and I was at a BNI meeting. I don't know if you ever heard of BNI.
No.
Business Network International. They got one realtor, one mortgage person, one tint person, one doctor, one trainer. They can only have one of everything. This one was a couple hundred people. And you remember that song, You Want to Go Where Everybody Knows Your Name? Yep. It's like Cheers or something.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No one knows who we are in that market. We just went there.
Yeah.
So how do you how do you do that? How would you do it really quickly, Ryan, if you wanted to go to another market and you wanted everybody to know who you are?
Social media.
Social media is probably the best one if you can master it.
Yeah. Ads.
You think, so TV, radio, billboards, ads, vehicle wraps.
Yeah.
Consistency in your brand.
Yep.
A lot of people screw it up. Like their email signature doesn't look like their yard sign, doesn't look like their mailers.
The brand needs to be cohesive everywhere.
Cohesive brand. So you think, and Gary Vee and I had a good discussion about this. You think social media would be better, and that each channel works, but what than buying radio or TV?
Well, I've spent millions on TV too, so I have experience.
And is
TV.
it cable, or do you think? I'm just curious from your point of view.
I would run for Home Run Offer, my house buying company. We would run ads on like Jerry Springer and like all these random shows where you might have distressed homeowners.
Yeah, understanding your avatar.
Yep. So we ran them on those kind of shows.
Have you ever heard of the Wizard of Ads?
No.
Roy Williams. He's in Austin. He's the GOAT. He's the guy that came up with the Rolex commercial.
Okay.
And just like every single jeweler, the largest home service companies on the planet. And he still believes conventional radio is by far the best because you could own your audience for 70 cents a person.
It's just cheaper for impression. Just really cheap.
He says each of your potential clients, and it could be little ones, like your kids.
Yeah.
Could be all the way up to 90 years old, not even your avatar.
Okay.
50% of the population need to hear your ad 4 times a week. And you will own that market within 6 months. And they believe if you buy radio correctly, and there's a lot of data on radio, if you buy it correctly, and you got to go all in though.
Yeah.
And there's no ROI after month 2.
Yeah, you
or
can't
3.
spend a couple $1,000 and expect it to work.
It's
on radio.
People spray and pray. You got to here's the deal. You got to spray the first year in a market. You got to spend over $1 million just on radio, not including TV billboards and every other thing.
Yeah, that's why the lawyers do everything.
Well, Brandon Raffi in Phoenix. I don't know if you saw all of his signs. Every other sign. He went to Tucson and he spent like learner on row. He made them look like little punks. Like he made them look tiny.
Yeah.
I'm talking, you can't go anywhere. He is in every corner. You're hearing Raffi, go Raffi. You're on the radio, you turn it on, you're seeing the signs. Well, now news started picking it up. Like this guy's in this town. So now it's all organic.
Yeah.
People are like, they call it the Raffi effect.
And
I'm like, dude, let's just overspend like crazy. In fact, when you go into a market, you might spend more on marketing than you even make in revenue the first year.
Yeah. Yep.
And that scares a lot of people.
Well, you got to be profitable and have the margin to do it.
Well, the idea should be, if you want to grow at the pace I want to grow to get to a $20 billion company, you need to know how to go own a market and build brand recognition.
Well, and also too, I would say that's how these billion-dollar tech companies, gain market share, like Uber and like they go into it knowing we are going to lose so much money just getting market share. And once we have it.
The problem is with software, as you probably know, is now they're looking, how do you get software that makes a profit? Because they were going so much debt that it's like, wait a minute.
How do we pay this off?
Well, they could keep raising money because the multiples are insane and it's a multiple of revenue versus EBITDA.
Yep.
And this is what I'm talking about. Like no one taught me what EBITDA and profit's more important than revenue. I knew it was, but you got to have money in the bank to buy stuff. But I didn't understand accelerated depreciation on my vehicles. And I didn't understand tax planning. And I didn't understand family offices. And no one ever explained how to make true wealth and what IRR meant. Well, IRR, internal rate of return, what does that even mean? And I tell people, listen, let's just say you could get to a company of $10 million.
Yeah.
No, I think I did 20 million at a 25% IRR is 1.73 billion in 10 years.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know. Is it hard to get to the 25% internal rate of return?
I think that a lot of real estate funds try to target about 20% IRR.
Yeah.
Over 5 years after you sell the building, a lot of people are happy with that.
20% is great. I mean, there's people that are hitting 30. It really depends. The more money you have, the better sophistication you have, the more people you have that are they figure stuff out differently. It's like there's loopholes still no matter what.
Well, I think you mentioned a couple of things too. I think, you mentioned a lot of things just now in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
One thing that stuck out to me was the first thing you said was from 7 to 8 figures, you got to know your booking rates. You got to know your cost per lead. You got to know all this stuff. And it's really interesting because as a marketing guy who spent millions on ads, like I know that. I'm like, bro, I mean, first it starts with cost per lead, then it starts with show rate, conversion rates, all this stuff. If these don't pencil out, you can't throw gas on the fire. It just is, it's not going to work. But, you're in the blue collar space where a lot of those guys, everything's referral, word of mouth. They never spend on marketing. They never have to learn these things. What made you learn it? Because I think most blue collar guys still operate that way.
Well, this idea of success leaves clues. I started in Service Titan. It's a CRM in 2017. And they only allowed HVAC, plumbing, and electrical in there. And by the way, HVAC, plumbing, electrical is a $200 billion market cap, which is trillions of dollars of net enterprise value. So I'm there and I'm meeting all these people. And I find out this guy's doing 100 million and I have no shame in my game. I just walk up and I'm bullshitting with him. I don't care. I don't care if he says no or stay away from me. But I'm genuinely interested. And by the way, I've already read this guy's book. And I'm just giving him compliments. And I say, would you mind if I came and visited? I'll buy your whole team food. And I'm just a very young garage door guy. You know, I'm not going to take market share from you. Yeah, when can you come out? No problem. And everybody said yes to me. I don't know why, but I was just this little punk garage door guy. So they didn't see me as a threat, but I was curious. I could hold a conversation. I was well read. I spoke with confidence. I smiled a lot. I didn't get too drunk, but I drink with them. And they're like, yeah, dude, fine. Come on out. And here's the deal. I followed up and did it the next day.
Well, you know what, too? Most people don't even ask.
Yeah. That's
Like,
my
that's
favorite three letters, ASK.
Yeah, like people, I could honestly count on one hand how many people actually are like, Ryan, can we come to your office and see what's up? Like, out of the blue. Now, when we do things, I'll be like, hey, we got an event. It's here at the office. You can see, people will buy a ticket. But the amount of people who just simply ask for something is so low.
It's, there's this fear that someone's going to say, I do orientation 3.5 to 4 hours with every new class of techs that come in. Then I go, have you ever been to a third world country, whether that's Mexico or anywhere in South America, Brazil, could be anywhere, Colombia. And a lot of the guys have been to Mexico. And I'm like, there's a kid that might come up to you, 6, 7, 8 years old. They'll have a blanket. They'll have a necklace. Anything. If you say no to them, like no interest, whatever you want to say. I don't know why I tend to speak broken English to people that speak Spanish. Like no wante. But they don't go and cry when they get home and say this white guy offended us. They don't give two craps. But why is it that when we're at a client's house, we're afraid to ask?
Yeah.
I just say, let me lay out all your options for you, Ryan. We've got everything from top of the line to builder grade. Go through it and you can pick the one that you like that fits best for you and your family.
Yeah.
So that's the best way, I think, is lay it all out there. I don't care, black, white, Cuban, or Asian, old or young. I don't care what your sexual preference is. I'm going to give everybody all the options and let them decide.
Yeah.
And that's sales. And, Jeremy Miner was at the house on Sunday, and I like what he does because he's really learned a lot about just slowing down, and it's no pressure.
Yeah.
And these little social cues of what he does, but he's very good at it. And there's also the pressure of like, come on, I like nice things, different styles, and I don't think any of them are wrong. I've got every style in the book that works with me. Some shy people that do really well. But anyways, I think you were going to say you knew all about the KPIs.
Mm-hmm.
What was the next?
Well, I was just saying like let's just say internet marketers and even real estate guys who market, they, in the most part, kind of understand KPIs. But a lot of businesses, and I would say a lot of them blue collar, are just word of mouth referrals, and they hope that the business grows that way, and they don't really do any ad spend or social media or other things, and they don't know those terms. And I thought it was interesting that you said that's like what has to happen from 7 to 8 figures.
You know, not a lot of people know this, but I was partners with Josh Aliche, and I was at his house this week. And I was interviewing him real quick because we were doing his garage door springs. And I said, what really started the business taking off to get to 100 million? And he goes, well, Gronkowski, then the Kardashians, then I got all these other people. He goes, now I got 28,000 people on TikTok posting daily about snow, teeth whitening.
Yeah.
And I said, look, dude, it's on the house today. You're my man. You're my dude. But I'll be here next week at your house for a tour, and I'm sitting down for 2 hours, and you're going to show me how to get these TikTok. Look, I'm not saying I'm going to be the best at it, but here's the deal. I will set that meeting up. Actually, Ashley will. I will go see him, and I will find a way to delegate these things and get it done. Yeah. Where most people, they talk about it. Yeah. They say they're going to do something, and they never get around to it. Their schedule. Owning your calendar is probably 95% of it, and actually doing what you say you're going to do. So many people look, life happens to people. I get that. But the best thing you could do is R&D, rip off and duplicate. And when you find enough people, and it just doesn't need to be about money either. It could be about parenting. It could be about golfing. I know you're a big golfer. It could be about playing baseball. But when I'm around great players in anything, I get better. Shooting pool, golfing, doesn't matter. Yeah. If I'm the best in the group, it's still fun. Trust me, we still have fun, but it doesn't challenge me to become the best version of myself. Yeah. So that was your idea for doing, because I remember last time we talked a few months ago, you're like, yeah, we're going to start doing this TikTok, affiliate thing. And we're getting, what I mean? Here's the thing is, we're doing a lot right now. Like everything, we solved the problem of getting great people, which is probably one of the hardest things is how do you create this funnel of amazing people, and it just gets smaller to where this person's like, 1 out of 100 are gold. So it takes us 100 to interview to get the gold. And that makes all your KPIs better.
Do you think
Better
that
reviews.
that's the biggest thing with 10 to 100 million is being able to get that many people?
Yeah, I would say that. When you could create, because look, great people, they get great reviews with pictures in them. They get testimonials when you ask them to get testimonials. They smile more, and the customers there at a gas station, they're handing out a card and they're super courteous. They're not out there smoking in the work van.
Yeah.
There's so many things that A+ players do that B players don't do. And some people tell me you can't hire all A+ players. And I disagree. If you figure out the process, and just like a marketing funnel works for leads with great clients, you can do that for great internal clients, which are your people, your coworkers. And then it's like, dude, you pour gas on it. And then with this, private equity is swarming the home service industries, home improvement, home service, really everything. But they are swarming at this. And the deal is they're very smart people. Like the one thing I'll tell you they have is very high IQs. I think a lot of the private equity people, they might not have as much EQ.
Yeah.
Where they know how to talk to people, especially blue collar people that didn't graduate, that maybe didn't have a mom around their whole lives.
Yeah.
And need some love. Like they can't treat people like a machine.
You're a
and
cog.
unfortunately, a lot of them do. They come in and they wonder why they paid this expensive thing. You cannot lose the founder is what they learned. Here's what they learned in the last 5 years. Don't lose the founder. The founder is the glue. It doesn't need to be there all the time, or she doesn't need to be there all the time making all the decisions. Just need to be there enough to make sure that people are staying checked in.
Got it. So for you, I mean, you guys had your first exit how long
End
ago?
of 2022.
End of 2022, and that was for over 600 million.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah, I gave, obviously I had 25 equity incentive program people, so they got a lot of money.
So you gave 25% of your equity to the team. How did that work?
So 50% rolled back in. It would have been 33% of what I had, which would have been about 17%, 16.5% of the whole company.
Got it. Okay. So you basically sold half for that.
Yep.
Wow.
Half of it rolled back in.
Yep.
Which is a very significant amount. The safe play that most wise people would tell you, 35%.
Yeah.
Is what you roll. I actually asked them to roll more. I would have taken 65% if they allowed me to do it. Now, they still would have wanted controlling rights, because you don't want to never invest in a company that you have no chance of getting an exit. Yeah. Unless there's, obviously, you're going to put certain things in place, but they need to get back their limited partners' money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there has to be some liquidity event.
Yep.
So what'd you do with this fat stack of cash?
Well, luckily I had a couple key players in my life, and I had to go interview a lot of people, and Goldman kind of won the day. And there's all kinds of things like trust, and there's legal ways. There's different tax codes out there when you learn like how to start a 501(c) and do these different things. There's a lot of them out there. The ones that are tried and true in court are the ones you want to go with, because everybody's coming up with new theories of how you could strap a Roth IRA to this and like
And
it sounds great, and it might pass the smell test, but it hasn't been tried in court, and you got to undo everything you did.
Yeah.
So that's I bought a dream house, which is cool. Bought a couple cars I wanted, paid off everything because interest rates were going up, and I didn't want any debt, so that's what I paid off everything. And what's crazy, Ryan? Just telling somebody this is, I've invested in a lot of stuff, dude. Like a lot of small businesses, a lot of software stuff, lots of people that I like, a lot of things to make A1 better, actually. Like almost everything kind of is related to the garage door industry for me. So the S&P 500 has been a pretty safe bet for a long time for people. And there's some things you could do within the market to even get a higher return than the S&P. And I got into the right time. And all this money that gets every day I get a message from my family office CFO, and he's like 50 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand going out. And I just got to go into the account and hit a couple buttons. It's an automated service that calls. And the account still keeps going up. It's never gone down. Like, it's always gone down the minute the withdrawal goes out.
Yeah.
But it just keeps going up. And I'm like,
and the withdrawals are just for stuff you're buying, or
Eleanor, that was a big one. I'm going to hold on to that one.
Yeah. I think you said that before. You bought the Gone in 60 Seconds car.
I didn't tell you. That was earlier today. I just bought this thing 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, look, you add these up and like a deposit down. We're building another house now. The biggest house, it'll be the largest house in Paradise Valley.
Yeah.
There's deposits going out left and right for that.
Yep.
There's the house in Idaho that's finishing up. There's a lot of money came out for that.
Yeah.
There's
a lot into real
business.
estate.
We just invested in another software, money going out for that. But my point is, when you get this lump sum and you know how to diversify it and you understand tax law and you got really good specialists that work on it and you're disciplined, it's why the rich keep getting richer. If we all gave money out right now, the government did to every American, it'd still end up in the top 1% of the 1%.
Yeah. They just know what to do.
Well, they know the first thing you do, when I think about the money I'll get on the next sale, it's not what am I going to buy. It's what am I going to invest in to create the highest amount with that principal, the IRR.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think about spending the principal.
Yeah.
I think about how could I spend the interest.
Yeah.
And that's the difference of the super, extremely wealthy is they're setting up their kids in the Rockefeller.
Yeah. The principle's never changing. They're always just living off the return.
And there's generational wealth that have a lot of wealth. That's when you go to like Monte Carlo and these crazy spots where there's yachts everywhere and like crazy. I mean, look, the people, if I started buying a bunch of planes and I had a yacht and I was out there just being single, goofing off, getting wasted and meeting different, being a playboy, whatever they call it, this money would be gone in a heartbeat. Planes lose value. Boats lose value. Women could be great. Women actually create value, but the wrong women and the wrong men too, if you're a woman, could make that go away fast. So I don't own a boat. Well, we got like a little like $25,000 boat.
Yeah.
I don't own a plane. I'm not ready for that yet. But I think Trump will go back to 100% depreciation. It will make sense on my next exit to do some of that stuff.
See, that's crazy that you had a literal $600 million exit and you're like, I'm not ready for a plane. I don't think I've earned it yet. But maybe on $1 billion exit, that'll make sense.
Yeah. Well, they're maintenance and they only go down in value.
Yeah.
And so many people,
you just don't care about the flex or any of this crap that.
I mean, look at this. Yeah. I don't, this is an A1 shirt. The shirt underneath there's an A1 shirt. I will say, my buddy convinced me, taught me a lot of stuff in HVAC.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, come with me to this jewelry store and just try on a Rolex, just try it on. And I'm like, dude, I don't want one. And dude, this guy is like the top salesman in the country, like literally. And he's like, dude, I go, if I'm going to buy one, I just want like a beginner's, like the Hawk, the green one.
Yep.
And they had one there, and I'm like, all right, it's like 22,000. I was like, I'll get it. And the lady goes, Dale, I want to show Tommy something really special. And she goes in the back. And he's like, she never goes in the back for someone.
This guy's a good sales guy.
And I'm like, all right. And he pulls up his stupid iPhone and he goes to every Rolex he's bought and it's got the value and how much it's made since he's bought it. Like he could resell these things.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, it's not a depreciating asset. It's an appreciating asset. And then I go, she goes, this is my favorite timepiece. It's the most complicated. And he goes, dude, and I put it on and it fits perfectly. It's like, she knew my wrist size. And then he goes, every time you look at that Rolex, Tommy, I want you to think about how much your time's worth. And then the lady goes, listen, Tommy, I know Dale's good for it. He's been in here a lot. You could walk out with the watch. You could just wire the money next week.
You're good for it.
And I'm like, did I just get sold? I didn't even say yes yet. And I'm like, did I just buy this watch? It was kind of like bidding on the Eleanor because I've never bid. Listen to this. I'm at this auction.
Boy, so what did the watch end up costing? Did you keep it?
It was, over 50 G's.
Okay.
I still have it. It just doesn't get worn very much. I don't want people to think like I wear it on very, very special occasions and it's safe.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm at the auction, and Bree and I really wanted like this older, like a Chevy Blazer or a Ford Bronco. And there's this one that comes out 0 miles, lifted, suicide doors, different model than anyone. I'm like, this will be perfect for Sandpoint, Idaho. Like, so amazing. So I bid on it. I'm like, I had a sharp stop at 250 in my brain. And I got my brother-in-law there and Bree, only us.
Yep.
And he kept, I've been very, very good about working on it and everything, but today was a special day. So he kept bringing back doubles. We're drinking. And they're so excited. And now the cameras are on us. And I got this little bidding pass. And I don't even know what I'm doing. Like,
yep.
But I know how I'm kind of understanding what it's at. And it goes 230 and 240 comes and I go 240.
Yeah.
And the cameras are on us and the girl's up and she's waving and Bree's jumping in the air and it hit 250. And I'm like, nope, not going to do it. So now Eleanor is out there and they start going in fives when it gets to like 220, 230. No one was bidding. So I go 235. Dude, this adrenaline rush. I can't explain it, but I was on the History Channel. Like everybody saw us.
Yeah.
And Bree's jumping up and down and she's clapping and the lady. And I'm just waiting for them. Someone's going to go 240. Anybody go 240. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done in my mind. I put this away.
Yeah.
And then they go, sold to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, shit. I'm just telling you, and once in your life, if you've never done an auction like that, it's an expensive experience. But like I said, they only built so many 67 Shelby, like Eleanor's.
Yeah. It should appreciate.
It will. Like,
I
somehow I'm able to convince myself on
that it was a decent investment.
Things. Like I'm always like, because I just don't like to throw money away.
The IRR won't be negative.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, it's going to at least be zero.
And here's what I convinced myself too. This is important. If you buy a nice house and it's expensive to fix it, like you see land goes up. A house on top goes down actually. Because it needs new hot water heaters,
depreciation,
it needs a new roof, it needs. So I just convinced myself on the house, like how much is this extraordinary time worth? Like I've got people that pay me quite a bit of money a year, like 6 figures a year to coach them.
Yep.
And I don't personally coach them, but my team does. And it's full of stuff for a home service. And I invited them all over for dinner right after we took them all to Waste Management.
Yep.
And it was like, then I gave them a tour, let them get in a couple of cars, start them up, let them play with the dogs, love my dogs. And those guys, you should have seen them light up. It was like selling the dream almost in a way. And I loved every minute of it because I like to share. And the opportunities like that make it all worth it. And then I had my mom and dad over this weekend and we had the time, but my aunts and uncles are at the house all weekend and we're having breakfast every day. My cousins there, everyone's there. Like, how much is that worth?
Yeah.
Could you put a price on that?
No. There's a book. I don't know if you ever read it called Die with Zero.
Die with Zero. Yeah.
Yeah. That book talks about that, quantifying the value of a memory and an experience.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I know that's what, Dan Martell and I talk all the time. He's like, I'm not leaving anything for my kids. I'm like, dude, we're going to see. You got all this stuff you talk about. But it's interesting. Like, look, you talked about this a little bit is like, how do you want the kids? Do you want them to fill with a site to go to zero? But you don't want to watch your kids like do what we had to do. Like, barely make ends meet.
Yep. So all that, it's just making me dream of like, okay, dude, that's what that level feels like.
Well, what's really cool is I'm making a list of all 5013Cs.
Real estate investors, I found a brand new way to create cash flow that's better than anything else I've ever done. It's better than rental properties, Airbnb, my flipping business, multifamily. It's the best thing we've done yet. It is building an automated wholesale business. Now you might be saying, Ryan, how do you build an automated wholesale business? Well, what if you had the same exact leads that I get every single month? What if you had a sales script that was so easy to close deals over the phone that you could do it all across the country? And what if you could sell your deals directly on the MLS without a real estate license and without having to actually own the property and getting top dollar. Well, we do that with this new method. And I made an 11-minute video where I go over how it all works, how you can start doing it today. So if you want to go see that video, go to wealthyinvestor.com, go click the case study and see what I'm talking about.
I started talking to Travis Hearn very seriously about Impact Church and how I could help there.
Yeah.
I'm starting like life gives to the giver. And like, look, I know I can't buy a couple, I'd love to say I got a couple seats in heaven by just giving to the church. But that's not how it works.
No.
You know, he was talking about a foot from heaven means you might know God. You might love God. You might know God. You might know of, you know, we could talk Bible stories, probably anybody that went to church ever.
Yep.
But do you love God? And do you live your life as if you love God? And Travis is talking to me, and this is like divine. There's no way that this was put together. And I think Cody Sperber introduced me to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he wants to hang out. And obviously, like the first thing he said is, I'm paying for breakfast and I don't want your money. He goes, but I want your brain for a few sessions. And last night I woke up middle of the night. Allergies are crazy. I was at the Waste Management all week.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like listing every single thing. I think I know exactly what he brings in a year. And I'm like, I figured out a way to triple it. And I figured out a way to help him even more than that. And I figured out a way to introduce him to a few other people. And I'm going, this is just this weekend that I was talking to him and I was hanging out with him.
Yeah.
So like, look, how good can you do? Money's not the root of all evil. The love of money. If you love it, if you praise it, if you think about it all the time, if you worship money, yeah, it's going to take you down. If you understand it's a tool, it'll help you get from A to B. Like his church will not grow. More people will not get the message if he doesn't invest and collect tithing.
Yep.
Like that's just the fact is it's what needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good book. What the heck is it called? Acres of Diamonds.
Okay.
It's a book everybody should read. If you get a chance, read that book, Acres of Diamonds. And sometimes it's right in front of us. The best idea in the world. There's a story about like 1800s. The guy's wife she's like, get out of the house. And it's a, old 1800 house. And she's cleaning up. And he's like, I wonder if I can make some money back here. And there's a little river. And he catches a big fish. And he brings it to the market. And he sells it. And he makes some pretty good money. And he's like, he builds a nest. Or a net, like a net to catch them. Yeah. It doesn't catch much. He catches a couple. It's not enough to make any real money.
Yeah.
He figures out he can breed them in a small lake. He breeds them and they become they tens of millions of dollars. And there's all these stories in there, but it explains this idea that money is not evil. And a lot of us were raised in a way that, oh, the rich guys over there, because my grandparents went through depression.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it was bad to be wealthy. Like, look at the rich folk over there. Mm-hmm. They're always taught, my parents were taught, oh, they're rich, they're bad, they're evil. Yeah. It's not true. That sales guy over there, sales has a bad connotation too. Like the first thing I would need to tell you if you were going to work with me is define what a salesperson is. Write it down. If you think that's who you are, you're always going to fail. If you don't think you're helping people, if you don't find a way to describe yourself, if you think that guy in the front of the church just cares about selling you and taking all your money, then you're never going to tithe. Yeah. But I know Pastor Travis Hearn doesn't feel like he's extracting money from the audience. Yeah. He feels like he's changing the world through spiritual warfare, which he's on the Jesus side. Yeah. I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent here, but
no, well, I love it, dude. I mean, obviously we talk a lot about faith on this show, and you were sharing, you got baptized last year. Like
I've always been like born again Christian. I just call my parents. I'm like, listen, I just joined this new church. Do you remember getting me baptized? They're like, your sister did for sure. We don't remember for sure. I'm like, I need to make sure. This is kind of a big deal. Yeah. But it's not like I just had Jesus come into my life last year. Right. It was just, I just wanted to make sure 100%. I don't think that the Lord would like not let you into the kingdom if you didn't get baptized, but it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, baptism's a really big deal. Some denominations think you need to be, but most don't. Most Protestant denominations don't think it's necessary for salvation, but you should do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, I just want to knock that off the list.
Yeah. Tell me about, we're just talking about, I mean, lots of random stuff right now, which I think is great. You mentioned something a little while back just now that you obviously went all in on garage doors. That's what you know better than probably anyone on the planet. And then eventually, once you had a big payday, you started doing diversification into all these different things and living off of the investment and preserving wealth and all this stuff. One thing I always see is people trying to diversify from the beginning because they hear it. They're like, dude, Tommy said to diversify.
Oh, yeah.
But I look at what you did and I know just from other entrepreneurs is they don't really diversify. They're kind of just all in on whatever the thing is.
Yeah. So the idea of that, and I wrote this in the first book that I wrote, which 12 co-authors, it's called The Home Service Millionaire.
Okay.
It's this lesson I learned just in the first chapter. We were always told, put your eggs in a lot of baskets. Put your eggs in, what if one falls over? You got to lay your eggs in a lot of baskets. And I actually wrote this quote, the hustler had to die for the leader to be born. I had to stop hustling. Hustlers want to always do, hey, I got a side hustle. I'm a hustler. I got all this stuff. Dude, double down on the things you know. Like if you were playing blackjack and you knew you had an ace no matter what, you probably double down every time.
Yeah.
And the dealer's showing a 3. So look, you got to double down on yourself. Like Richard Branson, when he became very wealthy after Virgin Records, he said, now I can start hiring people at the top. But if you got to go in at the bottom of every single hustle you're trying to do and try to build them up, there's something common that me and you have. No matter what, we'd be good at anything we put our minds to. But we only have so many hours in a day.
Yeah.
And people are always like, entrepreneurs could figure it out. I guarantee you they could do it. Me and you could start up a restaurant, we'd kill it.
Yeah.
But not if we could ever go in there and now we had no experience. Like we'd have to go through all the mistakes.
Yeah.
Unless we could hire the best general managers, the best bartenders, the best chefs. And that's what the difference is. Like then I can own a restaurant now because I can go, this guy's got a proven track record. Everything he's touched. In fact, in Vegas, I invested in the Bottle Blonde.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah. When
Okay.
I found out about depreciation, it's opening up in May. And Les and Diane are good friends of mine. They're my neighbors in Idaho. And I learned all about it. And I know exactly what the investment's going to do. It's got a proven track record.
So just investing in the other experts.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll never again have an industry like I know, like garage doors. I know that, but then again, you're so right about like you talk to your buddy and he's like, he's flipping houses. She opened up a bar. She bought a mobile home park. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, we can do all this. And you're like, all of a sudden, like my mom used to have the candles parties and the Tupperware parties, and I'm like, what? It's like there was always like this little side thing, and they never made any money. My grandparents did Amway.
Yep.
You know, never made the money. We had candles for days. The closets were full. My mom was, I mean, it was like an addiction for her of candles. She had candle parties all the time, and they smelled good and all the stuff. But I'm like, there's no money here, Mom.
Yeah.
So I will tell everybody that's listening right now, like Gary Keller wrote a great book called The One Thing, and you focus on the one thing. You know, a lot of people, they get these ideas, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube videos. We're going to do it all. And you can't do it all. You got to master one.
Yeah.
You can still repost on all of them, but they're different algorithms, different things. And so one of my mentors taught me the top 100 list of all your ideas. And we're ADHD usually as business owners. So put your top 100 down, put it in a Trello board, put it in a project manager. It could be base camp, could be a sauna, could be whatever you like to use. Could be an Excel sheet. Then build a top 30 out of that. Then build your top 5.
Yeah.
And if you add one to the top 5, something's got to come out. And if you focus on those top 5 until they hit complete.
Yep.
And then a new one could come in, but you cannot manage all these things and all these ideas. And, oh, I heard that there's a new this or that or this or that. Like I will go to Josh Snow, learn, get some help, and then delegate it out. Yeah. That's different than me. Like I will spend 2 hours and build a whole SOP around it.
Yeah. One thing I've always told people too is like, they'll look at successful people and they'll see like, dude, look at how many skills they have. You know, Tommy knows how to do the garage and the podcast and this and that. What I tell people is like, what successful people do though, is exactly what you described with the priority tasking. It's like, look, I'm only focused on these 5 things max or 2 things max. And until I deem them done, nothing else matters. And I've seen that in my own life. It's like all I did was flip houses for a really long time, 5+ years, flipped hundreds of them. I'm like, all right, cool. Like I'm kind of like at a level where I'm good with what that is. I don't want to go flip 1,000 a year. I don't want to take that risk and whatever. So what's the next thing? Oh, I'm going to go learn YouTube and TikTok. And literally, I'm just going to make videos every day until I get to my desired outcome, which at that time was, all right, let's get to 100,000 subscribers. Let's get to 100,000 followers. And once we get there, we'll reevaluate the goal and decide if we want to keep going further in this or accomplish another task. And even like now with golf, I'm like, okay, I want to be a good golfer. What does that mean? When is the goal accomplished? And at what point, like how much effort, how much money, how much time, what kind of coaches, whatever. But at some point I'm going to hit my goal of being whatever it is. And then I'm probably going to be like, all right, now it's just kind of maintenance. Like I'm good enough. Let's do whatever the next goal is that I want to be great at. But I think too many people, they try to do them all at once. Oh, I want to do social media. Oh, I also want to flip a house. Oh, I also want to, buy a small business from somebody. And it's like, bro, you're not even good at anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of brokers out there telling you to go get an SBA loan and get into this business. And that's okay. And it works out sometimes. But I feel bad for a lot of people because you think business is easy. I heard, what's his name? Dana White talking about it. He goes, yeah, you're told, hey, you don't like to work the hours of 9 to 5, just go start a business. And he's like, yeah, effing right. Yeah, go. You're working nights, weekends, holidays. You're not raising your kids. You are like, you think it's easy? You want this? You want it? Then go get it.
Yeah.
It's not easy. No one thinks business and the sacrifice. There's people that stumble into something, man, and they do well and they've hired the right people and things went really, really good. But man, it was not that way for me. It was nightmare after nightmare. I remember my first mentor, even though I was making really good money, I was spending too much. 2017, he reminded me of this past week. He goes, you remember how you had to use your line of credit of your mortgage to pay me? And I'm like, dude, oh my gosh, I was writing you checks not from the business for the first year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was what rock bottom felt like. And I'm like, that's when I was doing 17 million. You would think, man, this guy must be rolling in it. But I was putting it all back in. I had a lot of mentors and a lot of coaches, and I was testing marketing out. And then all of a sudden I learned this phrase, revenue is for vanity and profit is for sanity. And I stopped my best friends I talk to that are super, super, super affluent, big home service guys. They never once call me now and tell me their revenue. We don't even talk about it. We talk about profit. We call and we say, here's what we did to the bottom line. Here was our revenue. Like we quickly talk about profit. We know that's what we know. The big exits that come are based on EBITDA or profit.
Yeah.
Like who wants to talk about revenue? Who cares?
Yeah.
I know so many people that go into these rooms and they drive in their Bugattis and they're staying in their rental house and they go everywhere and they got the Rolex on. They got the big gold chains. They got the bottle service at the club. And they're telling every girl there and all their buddies about profit or about revenue. And they're like, dude, this is how much we did last month. And then the next thing you know, those guys are out of business. They're gone. Everything's gone.
So you guys were doing 17 million in revenue in 2017.
Yeah.
And not bringing in as much profit as you need.
Very low numbers, single digits most months.
What changed?
Well, what's interesting, this is rock bottom. I put every single market we were in on a board. Well, first and foremost, what I'll tell you is I met a mentor that said, you are a firefighter. I know how to help you. I met the right guy at the right time, and I listened because I paid him a lot of money. That's another thing, is I've had mentors where they gave it to me for the lowest price. I didn't listen to them. The more I paid, the more I listened.
Yeah.
And I learned that I started to buy like I wanted to be bought from. But the main thing was Al taught me a lot. Al Levy, the 7-power contractor, told me about manuals, SOPs. He showed me how to build technicians from the ground up instead of trying to get lucky and hire, fire in a bottle. But what else happened is about a year and a half later, my buddy comes out and he looks at my P&Ls across this table. conference table, and he starts looking at every market and marking them up and highlighting some stuff. And he looks me dead in the eyes, and he almost had a tear in his eye. He goes, "You need to close these 4 markets today."
Mm.
And I go, "Dude, I can't close 4 markets in my business today. I got workers, managers." He goes, "Well, why are they failing?" And I said, "It's just bad management." He goes, "Tommy, look at me again. Close them now."
Mm.
And I'm telling you, nobody on the planet, unless it was Jesus came back, would have made me do that.
Yeah.
The way he looked at me, the way his eyes were, the way he had showed me the data. We closed those 4 markets, and I gave my guys a relocation package, everybody that wanted to, that day.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the profit turned on. It started flowing in, but over 20%. The account started going, choo, 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 choo. And that, here's the deal. Talk about a tough one. Have somebody come in that's smarter than you, look at your books, and then tell you to close down stuff. And your pride's in the way, and you're saying, "I could work this out," and you do it. Dude, I was like, I didn't realize, but every day I went into work, I was getting kicked in the nuts. Working so hard to just make a barely little profit one month, then more the next month, then lose it. I heard this, and I don't know, I wasn't out there, but in Dallas, we had a stripper living with one of my managers at the warehouse. Well, think about it. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
7 years ago. We're not talking.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like,
is this compound effect? Like, dude, I had a lot of stuff go right. I had, all of a sudden, I had smarter people than me working everywhere. That's one thing, too, is my pride is so far out of the way now. I have people, everybody I can meet now, if you're smarter than me, you got a job. And one thing I think I have pretty good is EQ. Like, I'm really, really I look after my people, and I make sure they know I appreciate them. I do as best I'm still a work in progress, but my manager, I am there on meetings. I am there coaching, doing the orientation. I am there on Thursday meetings. I'm trying to show up big for my team. Could I be better? Yes, of course I can. But the IQ side of it, I'm like, you're the best I've ever met. And then this idea of top grading, like, dude, most people will sit and they will hold somebody because they feel loyal, but they're not getting any loyalty back.
Mm-hmm.
Loyalty is about meeting me 50-50 or even 60-40.
Yeah.
But you're not willing to take any, and you're not hitting your KPIs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on a frenzy right now of top grading, and it's not by decision. We're having a heart-to-heart conversation, and I say, Ryan, and my team's doing this. This is what it would take to make you into a ninja, a certified badass.
Yeah.
This is to join the Navy SEALs. Here's where you're at. One of 2 things got to happen. You're going to have to take a pay cut and train for 2 more months and go down this direction. And if you got the will, we're going to find a way. Or I'm going to write you a letter of recommendation to help you get another job. We're going to go here.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not going to continue this behavior down the middle. We'll go here, and you're going to have to train. We can't pay you as much to train. You'll still make great money. And you got to show performance improvements. And the thing is I'll hold you for as long as you want. I'll train you forever if you got the will.
Mm-hmm.
But I won't make that a livable wage that you can make 6 figures. You got to understand, you're not going to want to live there to here forever. You're either going to get good or get out. But a lot of people are like, yeah, you're right. I can't keep up. This company is just too high. It's too much stress. You got too much high achievers around me. Like, it's tough. I got to tell you, being around that, either you're going to jump up and be, look, the Super Bowl was just recently. And the best of the best. If you want to play here, you're the best. And it's not only sales. You got to show up to your jobs on time. You got to have 0 recall rates. You got to have a very high level of reviews with pictures in them.
Yeah.
My performance pay is not evolved around just how much did you get the customer, how much did you sell the customer? It's if the customer wrote down all the great things about the company and about the person that came out, they showed up clean and professional. They showed up on time. They offer something on the way. Professional profile. They played with the dog, and the dog always could tell if someone's good or evil. And they gave me the options, and they didn't try to over push me into anything. And it worked perfect. I didn't need to call them back, and they cleaned up after themselves. And I didn't catch this guy smoking cigarettes at a restaurant. There's a lot of stuff that goes into a great performer other than just sales. I would tell you, I fired so many people that were the top at sales. So many. because they think they're invincible. Everyone will step up when you get rid of a top performer. Everybody steps up. You will not skip a beat if the company's the right size. And once you start paying for performance pay, you're probably going to lose most of your staff. And then it gets refilled into winners and you start making money.
Yeah. With performance pay, you're talking about, you're trying to get top talent. And you mentioned earlier about top of the market salaries or top of the market, commission structures.
Yeah.
How do you do performance pay?
Well, you got to write down 5 things or less that matter. CSRs, what matters the most? They book the phone call, right?
Yep.
What else matters? The information's right. What matters? My mom used to answer phones for A1 in 2010 through 2012. She'd go, thank you for calling A1 Garage Door Service. My name's Gina. May I get the honor of knowing who I'm speaking with? Oh, honey. Oh, what's going on with your garage door? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. And she'd always say, we're going to send out our best technician, no matter who it was. A lot of times it was me. And she'd go, this kid, you're going to love him. He's from Michigan. His name's Tommy Mello. He is the cutest kid. And here's what happened. And I didn't realize it at the time. She showed empathy. She believed in the company and she believed in the technicians she was sending out. Now, when I showed up there, they'd give me hugs and they'd go, who is that lady? I go, that's Gina. We would never say mom and son. And they'd go, whatever this house needs, just go ahead and do it. We've never had an experience like that. I didn't realize that the whole point of this is when you're going to pay CSRs, you think it's just booking the phone call. Can I get your name? Oh, Ryan. Okay, cool. Oh, we'll be out there tomorrow. Well, we'll call you. It's an 8-hour window. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. So every single position in the company should have 4 or 5 things you're looking at.
Got it.
And sometimes they're not obvious things. Who would have thought empathy and being my mom sounded like she was just their best friend. Mm-hmm. And I'd be like, Mom, would you just book
How do you measure empathy?
So we listen to the calls, and we've got a software called Lace.ai that tells us a lot about the call. Every single objection, every single thing, it literally can listen to the tonality of the call. Mm-hmm. So it was harder before. It was harder when we first came up with this. We'd have to listen to 10 out of 100, and we'd grade it to say, you'd have to acknowledge and say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. But I know what your voice sounds like. Trust me. If I'm like, oh, Ryan, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's not genuine.
No, you say, Ryan, wow, really? Wow, that's horrible. I'm sorry to hear that. I missed my kid's baseball practice today. Oh, no, I am so sorry to hear that. Yeah. What's your son's name? And then we just, you're having a conversation. You can totally tell. And so we tell our CSRs as your actors. If you're having a bad day, you still got to come in and show empathy. And then we got to repeat their address. Yeah. You get the wrong street. You go from this side of in Phoenix, you go from Ahwatukee to Anthem.
Yeah.
By street instead of drive.
Yep.
So there's a lot to this stuff, man. And now that I think about it, and we're going through these things, but I'll tell you this. A lot of my people on my team ask me, how do I do the best I could do? How do you not feel like an imposter? I say, well, are you getting 8 hours of sleep? Are you drinking water every day? Are you eating healthy? Are you working out? If you use cut the alcohol and the cigarettes out a little bit, just try it for 90 days, you'll feel like you will not get the headaches or the burnout or the crap that you're talking about now. And very few of my people, not everybody has that ability to work out. And then I realized you got 168 hours in a week. 168 hours. You go work for 60. You can sleep 8 hours, shoot 7 hours a night. That's 49 hours. So now you're at 110. You still got 60 hours left. Mm-hmm. Go on a date with your kids. Go take your wife out. Watch your favorite show. Read 10 pages of a book. And still have plenty of time left in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, I got to tell you, it's hard for us to be productive all the time.
Yeah. How many hours do you work, would you guess? Today's
a big day.
Well, I'm saying in general, what's your work week look
day,
like?
Ashley came over at 8 p.m. last night. We went through emails. I mean, what's nice is we break up the day. There's days that I've got a really packed day get started early, but I'll tell you, I get pretty good sleep. I mean, it's not uncommon for me to get 7 or 8 hours a night. I'm not this guy that needs to get up at 5 a.m. and do we try to do cold plunges. It's harder for me to do cold plunges in the winter than the summer, but routine is a good thing. Habits are a good thing. They kind of dictate my day. But I don't have a hard time working. Like there are years of my life that I put in 13-hour days, 14-hour days, like literally ruin relationships. I'd go run calls all day. I had to go home and do inventory. I had to figure out payroll. I had to figure things out. But what I realized is the more you work does not mean the more money you make.
Yeah.
That was just out of like pure inability to know what to do next and inability to manage people and not know how to interview and not know how to hire. Like you hire a wrong person, it'll put you back.
Yeah. You cause more work for yourself.
Oh, it's the craziest thing by hiring the wrong person.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've done it a million times.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So how many hours a week do you think on average you work? Just being at the level
50,
you're at?
50. I mean, because I'm in media. I mean, it's not uncommon for me to jump on a call at night. It's just, what do you consider work? It's not fixing garage doors.
Yeah.
I mean, it's podcasting work.
Yeah. I consider it part of my work week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, at least.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not always working when I'm at work. Sometimes I'm walking around the building. Sometimes I'll go in the gym. But that's still, I'm still at work.
Yeah.
I mean, would you consider that if you had a gym in here and you went and hit it for 30 minutes, and you were making content while you were there, would that be considered work?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I think it's all in the definition of what you consider work.
Yeah. The way I think about it is I think about when I'm going to be here at the office. So it's like, I'm at the office from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. And that's like my work. Now, I think about work outside of the office and, I'll text people and take calls and, come up with new ideas. Like it's basically my brain is on 24/7, just doing whatever. But I don't know. For me, I'm like, when I have to be at a place at a certain time, that's like how I consider my work schedule.
I don't know, Ashley. How much do you think we work? Yeah, 50 hours. She works more than I do. But here's the deal. I don't know. I see you on the golf course. There's videographers out there.
Yeah. Is it work? Yeah, I was golfing yesterday. So
it's not work, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I guess work is kind of becoming more lifestyle. Like lifestyle and work are starting to blend.
See, that's one thing that I think I want a little bit more. That's the goal. I'm just trying to get way ahead. We're starting a second podcast called the Mello Millionaire.
Okay.
It's coming out in spring.
Okay.
Podcasts are work. I've never missed an episode. We're up to like 400 of the home service expert.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm doubling down on content.
Okay.
And when you double down on content, unless you can catch it all organically, and there's certain things you need the right team, and you need to exclude certain things because it's super private. With the private equity folks, you got to be careful. So I'm willing to put in more work this next couple of years and get to this next exit. And then I know I'll have a president, a chief of staff. I will still be as involved, but I'm looking to spend less time, but more impactful time at work.
Got it.
And I really think the podcast has helped out A1 tremendously. And I think the Mello Millionaire will help out A1 tremendously. I don't look at it like I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul. I've never looked at it like that.
Yeah.
Like there are people across this country in the 21 states we're in that say, we've used you because we listen to your podcast. And there's hundreds of them a week, if not a day. So I never look at it like when I go talk on an event center, I'm like, use A1 garage door service. We're going to take care of you. Like, and I meet people and then they help A1. It's like this roller coaster, this domino effect.
Yeah. Yeah. The more people you personally meet and the more your personal brand grows, it just has no choice but to help the business.
Let me ask you a few questions. Where do you want to get to? What do you consider success? Like obviously family, you told me telling your wife you love her every morning. You put that on your list of the 5 things. Being a great father and divine with your church, and the way you Jesus.
Yep.
But at what point in business is business just ongoing? Is it ever going to be done? Is this idea? Where do you see your professional financial life?
Yeah, I don't know that I'll ever be done. I think I don't really have a goal. And I don't know that what I do is like truly exitable. right? I mean, if we get on MRR and we start doing service-based things, it's more exitable than just, an education company would be. A house flipping business isn't exitable,
You were explaining it to me.
Yeah, so it's like not a lot of what I do is very exitable. But maybe on the new way we do with Wealthy Investor, because now we give students leads, we do their CRM, we have all their software, and then coaching is now more of the support for all the services versus before coaching was the thing you're buying.
Right.
And it's all MRR now. So it's just like, we just try to get people on monthly subscriptions and that's it.
So how much do you think the event that you throw is worth?
Yeah, the event could also be worth a lot of money too, just with the brand equity, and you could sell it as like an expo or something maybe.
You always, when you sell your business, you separate your event from everything. You have to separate your event.
Okay.
You separate everything that you do into quadrants.
Okay.
And they're all different quadrants. Roland Frazier taught me this.
So you'd have like the lead generation business.
You'd separate them all, separate flows, separate KPIs.
Yep.
And someone's going to say, dude, I want the event. I'll give you $10 million.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, it doesn't mean that much to me. Like, dude, if you do this correctly, it's worth a lot more money. I would ask, I was here with Brad Lee a while back, and he goes, dude, if I got $1 billion, I'm out. And there's a lot of people that are like, I hear a lot of people like the $1 billion. And I don't know if they're out. They might just be like, I'll buy a restaurant. I'll go, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe they'll do something different. I'll tell you this, as you start to get more successful, you're like, that's it, dude. I remember the money made it into my account, and I call my guy Joe at Goldman. I go, I could never, ever spend this much money. He goes, yeah, you can. He goes, you'll start liking nicer stuff. You'll buy a bigger house. You'll have more, we've got the driver, the chef, the freaking house manager, the 2 people to help out with the maintenance and cleaning, and full-time maintenance guy, like a handyman. Like, and now like it's just, I hate to say this, but it keeps going.
You are getting nicer taste.
And the deal is you start changing who you hang out with.
Yeah.
Who and also it's not keeping nice up taste. With it's not necessarily keeping up with the Joneses. It's like, that's pretty nice. That's pretty cool. Like, I don't know which way you want to look at it, but the people around you, I'm always trying to be by far the dumbest, most broke guy in the room.
Yeah.
The rooms are starting to change so quickly. But if you could get to this top of this mountain and look over, there's a bigger mountain, and go down to base camp here and get advice on how to get to the top of that one, all of a sudden, man, you're in a different realm. But there's always new mountains.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think I'll ever stop.
Yeah.
What else would I do?
Well, is it? You think it's going to be around this content stuff?
I think content will be in any business.
Oh, 100%.
So I don't think it's going to matter whatever industry it may be. But, one thing I even learned was getting into lots of industries over the years and then getting burned by a bunch of them. And then just realizing, kind of like, I've been in real estate for 15 years. Like, what else am I going to know better than this? It's like, all right, well, how do I keep solving the problems of real estate investors? So instead of just only focused on being a real estate investor, solve the problems.
It's interesting because so many people have come up to me, real estate investors, SaaS companies. Like, I'm thinking about getting into HVAC or roofing or plumbing. And I'm like, why? They're like, dude, the money that's being made. And I'm like, money's been made in real estate since the dawn of time. Like, what?
Right.
I'm like, well, SaaS is getting a 50x on AI of annual reoccurring revenue.
Yeah.
Like, the dream is always. So now I'm investing in SaaS companies, going for the dream of the ARR.
Yeah.
Not to say I'm very happy with where we're at with A1 and the home service companies. But it's always like
the grass
is greener. It's always like you think, oh, yeah, that's awesome. I want to look into that. And then you realize, man, when we came into Vegas trying to hire somebody that was not on drugs, like I didn't know. Like, I was geo-fencing the wrong area of Vegas, not Henderson or not. And I'm going, dude, Vegas might not be a market we want to be in. It was like 2 years of just, one guy OD'd. It was bad. It was bad. Car accidents. Like, Vegas was a really tough market. But Vegas is one of our best markets. It's amazing. We love them. We love Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, for you, I mean, what if you know, you have this next big exit, and then you're saying we want to get to 20 billion valuation? Like, it's all just going to still be with A1 then?
A1's going to be a big one, but look, end of the day, here's what I want. The main thing for me is that I'm going to, I want to work very, very hard 4 days a week from 10 a.m. to about 2:30. I'm willing to put in a long day, but there will be golf. There will be fishing.
Yeah.
There will be kid time. There will be travel. There will be key decisions made. I look at Jeff Bezos. You know, these are big, big, big people to look up to.
Yeah.
But my thing has always been, and I want you to remember this. This is probably the most important thing. Why not me? That's what I always ask myself. Why not me? I look at Jeff Bezos, 1999, confused, chunky dude driving in his Honda Civic, dorkiest guy I've ever met, trying to sell a book. I looked at Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Couldn't get a job at Netscape when he was in 1995. Developed these guys, everybody laughed him out of the room. So I say these things. Why not me?
Yeah.
Why not me? And it's not about the possessions. It's about like doing stuff. Like I was talking to Travis Certain. I'm like, dude, I kind of want to go through life first class.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I've been through at the bottom, dude. My parents broke up because of money. My dad cheated on my mom. My dad was an alcoholic. He's still around. You know, but I've been through all of this. My grandma died way too young. You know, I'm not doing this for nothing. So,
well, let me bring up, I don't know, what seems kind of obvious to me. So you mentioned one day there's going to be a thing where I'm, 4 days a week, 10 to 2, playing golf, doing like, bro, you could do it right now. Like I do it right now.
Well, the idea is
now, granted, like I'm not at $1 billion company, but I just choose to do it now, and whatever happens.
My who was it the other day? My aunt. She goes up to my ear and goes.
You said her gun?
No, her lips up to my ear.
I was like, what?
And she goes, I want you to smell the roses every once in a while.
Yeah.
And almost like a whisper. And she goes, you know how often I pray for you? And she goes, you're going to change the world. And I feel like when I shook these guys' hands, our partners, I told them to return. The idea that I have is who do I need to hire to get the life? But I can't. I need to get to this next deal. And by the way, I'm not going to screw those partners up, but I'm already making a list. I got to Google, like, I know what I'm doing now. And so the idea is with Ashley, Bridget, Bree, myself, other people, Emily, we're going to work very hard to be able to do these things, which means they're going to be handling my meetings a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And they're just going to give me, like, what I like about Dan Martell is he flew and he went and seen Richard Branson, and he's like, he flies his CEOs of his biggest companies into town to have coffee with them. Then they go skiing.
Yeah.
They'll have coffee, talk about for an hour, talk a little bit about business, P&Ls.
Yeah.
He won't do a Zoom meeting because the guy doesn't jump on and do like, and so one day Dan Martell goes, Joe Poss goes to Richard Branson, who he just introduced me to. He goes, when's the last time you've done laundry? He goes, no, I've never done laundry. He goes, what about when you were a kid? He goes, my mom. Mom did laundry. He goes, have you ever been to a grocery store? He's like, no, I've never been to a grocery store. That's one other thing. You're cutting out everything that just
waste time.
Time wastes.
Yep.
But yeah, you're right. You're right. It's like, I got to examine. I got to continue to get better at my calendar. But you said you're here 9 to 5. I get, I'm not working too much more than you.
Yeah.
And I'm probably doing way too much with the podcast, the social media, the growing of the home service expert, because we started a lot. I started a family office. There's 25 people in the company now.
Yeah.
And these people are going to need stuff to do. Like they're relying on me to get the thing up, and it's got to be through content and other things. So to me, and I guess my point is I'm not hating on anyone who wants to work
really hard. I work super hard the hours I do work. I guess my thought was,
You're right.
You're talking about this dream that you could just have it right the second if you felt like
everybody says this to me. They're like,
You know?
dude, you're living the dream. I'm like, dude, I literally just need to make up my mind and say, this is non-negotiable. And I think that you hit this wall, and I have to hit a wall. Every time I've made a massive move like that, there's this wall, and it's like, with my body. One day I had my shirt up. My cousin calls me and she says, dude, you're better than this. She goes, you're killing it in life, except you don't care, love yourself. And that was the day for me. That was the wall.
Yeah.
And I need to hit this wall. And I'm here sitting there saying, man, this content that we're doing today is making me second think some stuff. So you might say he went to work and he learned something.
There we go. Well, I also think from what you just said, reading between the lines, that it's not really about you, which is great because your EQ and selflessness has got you to this point. But you're like, look, I got 25 people in the family office who depend on me. My partners who bought the business depend on me. My employees depend on me. Therefore, I have to give it my all for all of them. And I think it's just hearing it. It's like a purely selfless approach of why you choose to, I guess, delay the gratification.
Well, I'll tell you this. Well, last week was blasphemy. One whole week. The waste management open.
Oh, yeah. Then so you did get to enjoy some life at the waste management.
We had a booth every day, and it was like, but I had employees there every day, and we had HSF. We were great. But I will tell you this. You're right in a lot of ways. Like, I want to get to this next deal, but I'm also going to make sure I'm set up to make sure A1 continues to fly.
Yeah.
I'm also going to make sure these little things do family office at the quickest way. So, Dan, if I asked you, let me ask you a question and we can start wrap this or whatever. If I told you with whatever business it is that you're most passionate about right now, you need a 30X next year. Let's say I told you in December you need a 30X the business.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell me? What would need to, if you had to reverse engineer, what would you know what would need to happen?
For a 30X? A lot. I mean, you're talking hundreds of millions a year at that point. And so if we're talking the education space in real estate, because we're talking EBITDA too, we're not talking revenue. We want to, well, not hundreds of millions in EBITDA, but I'm talking, let's
define what that is.
Yeah. So we got to do, let's just say if you're going to 30X, we need to try and make, 50 to $100 million, right?
Yeah.
So
if you're at 20%, you need 250, 300, 400 million bucks.
Yep. So how do you do that? Well, I'd have to create a whole new business model. I mean, there's no other way around it. Or figure out how to do something like SaaS where there's higher margins and, not think it, because if I was thinking about it from a revenue perspective and I'm trying to do your version of R&D, rip off and duplicate, the way they've done it in my space has been events. So you would just do massive amounts of events. There are big event companies that do hundreds of millions a year.
So Tony Robbins.
So that would be the tried and true method to get there. The more innovative method would be you'd have to have a technology play. I don't see any other way you do it.
So the theory behind this is you got to think really outside of this box, because most people go, you got to make a bigger box.
Yeah.
The fact is you got to think outside of the box. And for me, I know the way that I have to get there, the only way is to think way outside of the box. I'd have to be innovative.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, dude, you'd have to start thinking about like, I can't do it. So I got to become the best recruiter possible.
Yeah.
And I can't make mistakes but be a better interviewer.
Yeah.
I'd be a lot more thankful to the staff I have and not have turnover.
That's a whole different one too. You could just be Joe Rogan and go sign $100 million deal. That's all net.
I guess what the idea is if you want it, you start to manifest it and you think about it and you build a vision board and there's a way to get there. That's how you got to start thinking. You got to reverse engineer it. And it doesn't need to be 30X. It could be 10X.
Right.
It cannot be 2X.
Yeah.
Anybody could double.
Yeah.
Anybody could double.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this. Also, I meet these dreamers and I kind of enjoy it, but I still think they've never made more than 200,000 in their business. They're like, we're going to do 10 million profit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, you got to be realistic. Like, let's get it to 500,000.
Yeah.
And then let's get it to 1 million.
Yeah.
And none of them ever hit it. And I get them in 3 years and they're like, yeah, I went to this seminar, I got to this coach, and they grow.
Yeah.
But it's like they're dreamers. So it's one or the other. You're either a dreamer that's crazy, or you stop dreaming and you're not even reverse engineering anything. And you're just kind of happy just being just mundane.
Yeah.
And I think there's a happy medium there.
You're a realistic dreamer.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's what I am. I mean, look, there's no chance that my goal doesn't get hit. It's just a matter, is it end of next year, or is it 2027?
Yeah, it's not like a pie in the sky. It's like, no, these are the numbers. This is the reverse engineering of the KPI. If we do these things, if we go to these markets, we increase our ticket offer, we're there. The math plays out that way.
And what's so nice about the exit I know what I want after taxes, is I could sell half of what I got now, but I'm willing to sell maybe a little bit more than half now. Either way, I've kind of put myself in a position where I'm on the side of the truck.
Yeah.
I'm writing a book right now all about A1. It's going to be a lot about the founder and a lot about the rest of the team too, of executives. I'm the one on the radio. I'm the one on the TV. I'm shooting here content with you at your house.
Yep.
So think about it. I mean, if I just did that for the company and there was a better CEO that stepped in and I'm just there doing orientations and making content for them,
Here's the face. Yeah.
that's a good position.
Yeah. You're the
It's
media
not a bad
guy.
deal.
You're the paid endorser.
Yeah.
You're LeBron for Nike.
Yeah. It's not a bad gig.
Yeah.
And I think about that. I'm like, dude, I don't know if I want to be in a board meeting flying to Manhattan talking about KPIs with a bunch of black-tied freaks with analysts.
Yeah.
No offense. I think those guys are well worth every dollar, and the Princetons and the Harvard and the Yale and the Ivy Leaguers. That's great. But I'm not like, dude, look, take the investment I roll, 10x it. I'll do everything I could do on my side.
Yeah.
And
I'll be the
we'll live
face.
happily ever.
I'll make the stuff. And
Yeah,
we'll
so
go.
that's kind of like the and then obviously there's other opportunities for roll-ups. But here's the biggest thing is I just told you how to stop being a single, like most guys I know in their business, they're still the guys having to do most of the work.
Yeah.
And like, no one's going to be able to make your content like you.
Yeah.
Unless, look at Andy Elliott. He's got everybody making content, doing their own stuff to drive their own leads. But they're loyal to him under contract. I don't know. Like, ask yourselves, is there anything really that you need to do that you can't delegate? Obviously, tell your kids you love them, hang out with your family, pray to God. But for the financial side, the question is, can you figure out a way to almost delegate all of it?
Yeah. That's the question.
Can you?
Other than content, for the most part, yeah.
So content, is there a way to spend 1/10 of the time that you spend doing content?
Well, then I wouldn't be. I mean, this would be it. I spend probably 7 hours a week doing content, so we wouldn't be able to do this podcast.
Yeah.
So that'd be kind of hard. But maybe down the road, AI Ryan will be talking to AI Tommy.
Definitely going to have that. I mean, I've already
And then, then you spend zero time. AI just does it all for you. So yeah.
I don't want to watch. Not at least for the next few years. We'll see.
Yeah. Well,
This is
dude,
great, man.
we got to get it. We got to get to the house before sun goes down.
Last question is, when you do stuff like this, where you'll do, like, obviously we talked about, we'll take care of the garages.
Yeah.
Well, explain to me. That's what I did with Josh Snow.
Yep.
How do you see this working the best? I'm just curious from your point of view. You know more about content than I do, about blowing this thing up in a way that allows you to not go broke in the process. Which me, I won't go broke, but I mean, I can throw millions of dollars at it. But what's the best way to make this work?
Well, I think
I just like to share it with your audience.
Yeah, I think so. With our plan, obviously, we're already talking about it right now, so people know about it. That's one. Two, we're going to go film at the actual house with the doors. And so getting multiple pieces of content on that can be used as ads for retargeting, everything else. So if I was retargeting, I would retarget people who follow me with any of those ads. I would also retarget people who are are interested in the things that people follow me for. So real estate investing, whatever else, right? I would also then film educational pieces to target different avatars at the house. So I would say, hey, if you're a luxury homeowner, these are luxury doors that we do, right? Then you can target, just normal everyday people and do an ad for them. Then you could target real estate investors. Hey, we did this door for Ryan. It's going to add X value to the home, and his deal for this house he's going to flip, whatever, right? So I'd film different ads for different avatars.
And this would be on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or
where you can run it for any. Yeah,
is there
platform.
one you like the best for like home improvement?
I think Meta for video ads.
It's a Facebook.
Yep. Because this isn't going to really do much on like Google PPC.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Meta is great for what we're doing. TikTok also.
Yeah.
So I would use it for that, and then I would also you don't have to do it for me, but obviously just have some kind of affiliate program for all those people.
No, I will. Yeah,
it.
no. They, obviously, it gives them something to. If you realize, like, if I had you doing it and I threw something back, like, dude, that's the deal. Is like, what's in it for them? This idea of what's in it for them.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
100%.
So I think a good affiliate program, and I mean, dude, affiliate's been around forever, so I don't think we got to reinvent the wheel.
No,
just make good content with the right influencers.
All right. Well, this is kind of we're going to make this I'm just curious to see, we're going to make it happen today.
Yep.
So look for the garage door ads and use A1 from day one, baby.
Thank you
for letting us do this.
Yeah, guys, we'll link to it down below. Go follow Tommy. Check it out if you need garage doors, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.